everyone, it's Mel with the Quilting Room with Mel, and I am back with another quilting tip for you. Today, we are going to learn how to make another variation on the log cabin quilt block. I call this one the twisted log cabin. It's not exactly a curved log cabin, but it's certainly not a traditional log cabin either. For this project, you will use two different sizes of strips. A 1-inch strip and a 2-inch strip, and I'm using all batik style fabrics. So I'll show you my fabrics and then we'll get started. And this of course is a plain scrappy because you know that's how I roll. So my 1-inch strips are all going to be the same, and they're going to be this blue mottled type of fabric. My center strip is going to be extremely dark. My first strip is going to be this green-orange look. My second strip on is going to be this purpley green blue with some leaf looking stuff on it. And my final strip that ties it all together is this one, orange and yellow, browns, brings kind of everything together. So let's start sewing. Okay, let's start sewing. I have a 1-inch strip and my center strip down. And I'm just going to sew 1/4 of an inch. Nothing special about this. Making sure I keep my edges together. Okay. And on this strip, because I have solid pieces, I'm going to cut each one of these into 2-inch sections. So I'll have a 2-inch section of my 1-inch strip on the back, and then I'll have a 2-inch square of my middle. And I'm going to go do that and press these open, and I'll see you back here in just a minute. Okay, I have my blocks cut apart, and I just did 3 of them because you don't want to see me sew a whole quilt together at once. Of course, you would do this until you have enough blocks to make your quilt. We need to add another strip of the 1-inch on, and if you notice, I leave my selvage edge on just to give me a little extra room so I'm not wasting fabric. And this is the important part of this quilt block. You have your full seam that is going all the way across, and this is the one where you get to make your decision. You either want that to be the very first seam that you cross or the very last seam that you cross. It is totally up to you, but whatever decision you make at this point is the way you're going to sew every block on from now on. Because if you goof one, if you put it in the wrong way, you goof the whole block and you'll be doing some ripping out, and nobody likes to do that. So I'm going to have mine be the last one that I sew across. Just make sure my fabric's all lined up. And when I get to the end of the block, I'm just going to sit another one up there. Okay, I'm going to cut, press, and we'll be back to sew the next round on. Okay, I'm back. I have my blocks cut, pressed, and ready to sew. There is that uninterrupted seam that I was talking about in the last step, and remember I decided to sew that one last, so this one will also be last. The strip that we are using now is the first 2-inch strip for our block, and that is my green and orange, and we're just going to sew that on, making sure that that seam that we just sewed is the last seam we come to. have those blocks sewn on. And again, it's cut, press, and we will be right back to show you the next All right, step. I am back. And I have my blocks trimmed again and pressed open. Again, there's that seam, that last one that we sewed, so that one will go down when we sew again. And we are going to sew another of this same color on. So whatever you sewed on this last time, we're going to sew on again this time. Kind of the beauty of a batik is the fact that it's not the same all the way across. So it really looks like you're using a lot of different fabrics when you're not. And I'm going to sew these on just the same way as I have before. Okay, I have my last round on here. And I'm going to continue sewing. I'll put another light blue, the blue on, and then my second row, another blue, and then that third log, and I'll join you back right after I get that other that last log sewn on, so I can show you the trick to this block. Okay, through the magic of television, I am back with a almost completed block. This would be a completed block if you were doing a curved log cabin, or even if you were doing a play on a traditional log cabin. We have a center, and then we have 3 logs out on one side, and then our center and 3 logs out on the other side. But this is the twisted log cabin, so we are actually going to add one more round of the blue, and we're going to break our last batik on the side. So let's sew those strips on real quick. Again, last seam that I sewed, still going at the bottom all these rounds later. Nothing changing there. Okay, I'm going to trim and press this open, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got that pressed open. We are going to add one more log over here on this bottom side, and that will actually be our completed block. So let's get that sewn on, making sure that that last seam I sewed is on the bottom. Going to be the last seam that I run across. That just helps make sure that you're sewing the right strip onto the right side. If you're not matching your size of strip, then you know, oops, I've got something wrong. Make sure to not flip up any of those seams. Get out your quilting stiletto if you need to. Alright, and this is our last trim and press, and then I'll be back to show you the finished block. Alright, there is our finished quilt block. This actually finishes out to about 8.5 inches square. If you notice, unlike a traditional log cabin or even a curvy log cabin, if you've done that one before, there's a nice arc going here. And when you get a bunch of these blocks together, it is mind-blowing what comes out with it. So keep your eye out on the blog. Be sure to subscribe to the blog. There's links at the end of the video so that you can check that out, so that you don't miss the project that is made with this block. Join me next time when I have another quick quilting tip for you. Bye everyone.